Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. This is Deepika Mehta with you, and coming up in the next 1 hour. Israel conducts fresh strikes on Beirut's southern suburbs and alerts residents to evacuate immediately. Biden asks Netanyahu to consider alternatives to striking Iran's oil fields. Polling underway for 90-member state legislative assembly in the North Indian state of Haryana. Prime Minister Narendra Modi urges for record number of voting. Biden raises apprehension on whether elections would be peaceful in the USA. Trump says must be free and fair. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to visit Maharashtra will also launch various projects for the development of the state. And Pakistan is on a boil. Police shell tear gas on former Prime Minister Imran Khan supporters, demanding his release. So those were the top highlights of the hour that we're tracking for all our viewers here on DD India. And now to begin with the latest conflict from West Asia. Huge explosions shook the sky in the vicinity of Beirut's main airport in the early hours of Saturday. However, flights continued to arrive as nations worldwide have prepared contingency plans to evacuate their citizens from Lebanon after the conflict between Israel and Lebanese armed movement in Hezbollah. Although no country has launched a large-scale military evacuation yet, some are chartering aircraft. People are also fleeing on their own. On the other hand, Israel also carried out another series of airstrikes hitting suburban Beirut. The strikes came after the Israeli military issued 3 alerts for the residents of the area to evacuate immediately. The first alert called on the residents specifically present in a building in the Burj Al Barjna neighborhood. The second alert mentioned those present in a building in Shafat district, while the third alert mentioned buildings in the areas of Burj Al Barjna and Haratrik. The fresh round of intensified attacks came after Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei warned in his Friday sermon that Israel will not last long and Iran will not back down. He added that the resistance in the region will not back down even with the killing of its leader. Meanwhile, Israel claimed to have targeted the intelligence headquarters of Hezbollah in Beirut and was assessing the damage after a series of strikes on senior figures in the group that Iran's supreme leader dismissed as counterproductive. Israel has been weighing options in its response to Iranian ballistic missile attacks on Tuesday that Iran had carried out in response to Israel's military action in Lebanon. US President Joe Biden urged Israel to refrain from attacking Iran's oil facilities, emphasizing his efforts to unite the international community against the looming threat of widespread conflict in the West Asia. In a surprise appearance at the White House briefing room, he reminded Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu of the ongoing US support for Israel as decisions about the next steps are to be made.
The Israelis have not concluded what they're going to do in terms of a strike. That's under discussion. I think if I were in their shoes, I'd be thinking about other alternatives than striking oil fields.
And to give us the latest, I'm joined by DD India correspondent Amit Mukherjee. Good morning, Amit. Now, President Joe Biden once again reiterated the support for Israel, but at the same time, he discouraged Israel from hitting Iran oil fields. How is Israel responding to this, Amit?
Yes, Deepika, in fact, US has been consistently saying that Israel has got the right to defend its own territories. But very interestingly, whatever President Joe Biden says, Iraq has its cards very close to its chest, and it's not disclosing what it plans next. Joe Biden might have made a statement yesterday about this attacking oil fields, but if you look at what is happening right now, Iran has been attacking for the last 4 or 5 days, consistently on launching attacks on the Israeli territories. But Israel so far has not made any significant move, so to say. In fact, most of its attack as of now for the last 3-4 days have been focused on the proxies of Iran. In fact, if you look at Hezbollah, if you look at Hamas, and in fact the Houthis also, Israel has been attacking all these three outfits, all those facilities, and launch pads and all other facilities associated with these three led organizations consistently. But we haven't really seen any significant move on Iran, despite the fact it launched about 200 ballistic missiles on it. In fact, in the last 24 hours also, there are unconfirmed reports about drones attack being mounted on the Israeli territories. In fact, a few of the soldiers are also reportedly have succumbed during these attacks. But again, the whole attack right now, despite the fact that there has been provocation, significant amount of provocation, because yesterday Ayatollah Khomeini, the Iran supreme leader, also made certain provocative statements saying that Israel will pay for it if it retaliates, and it kind of justified so far whatever moves it has made against Israel, and also the abduction of Israelis from Hamas, by Hamas from the Israeli territories, Hezbollah attacks, which have been consistently there since October 7th, since the Israelis were abducted by Hamas. They have been launching missile attacks consistently, and Ayatollah Khomeini yesterday actually significantly and very emphatically kind of justified all these attacks. And going forward, he said that Israel should brace for more such attacks in case of any retaliation from their side. But notwithstanding, I think Israel is very, very clear. The attacks have been going on against Hamas, Houthis, and of course the Hezbollah. In fact, all the supplies into Iran, into Lebanon, where Hezbollahs operate from Syria. There were tunnels which were attacked yesterday by Israeli Air Force, and about a long tunnel, which is about 6 to 3 kilometers long, was actually kind of destroyed. In fact, Israel is focusing its attention to isolate the Hezbollah and then continue with its attack. And after having, I must also mention this, after having destroyed the head of the Hezbollah outfit, it's also targeting any successor to Nasrallah, who was actually eliminated during an Israeli strike a few days back. So any move to kind of replace the leader of Hezbollah is also being targeted by Israel, and any names which are probable, which could be the probable successor of Nasrallah, is also being targeted by Israel if reports are to be gone by. Deepika?
All right. Thank you so much, Amit, for joining us and bringing us a quick, detailed analysis of the ongoing situation in the West Asia conflict. Now, the United States will provide a new humanitarian assistance to support populations affected by conflict in Lebanon and the region. In a post on X, Secretary of State Antony Blinken said on Friday that the U.S. is at the forefront of humanitarian response to the growing crisis in Lebanon, announcing nearly $157 million in assistance today. They said, "We are committed to supporting those in need and delivering essential aid to displaced civilians, refugees, and the communities hosting them." The U.S. military on Friday struck over a dozen Houthi targets in Yemen using both aircraft and warships. According to a statement from the U.S. Central Command, the strikes hit 15 targets containing Houthi offensive military capabilities, and the strikes were to protect freedom of navigation and make international waters safer and more secure for the U.S., coalition, and merchant vessels. Several explosions were reported in some of Yemen's main cities, including the capital Sana'a. Since November, the Houthis have launched attacks on around 100 ships in the Red Sea, sinking 2 vessels as well. The rebel group says the attacks are retaliation for Israel's military campaign in Gaza. Moving on to the Russia-Ukraine conflict now, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky visited the northern Sumy region on Friday, from where Ukraine launched a major incursion into the neighboring Russian Kursk region. Zelensky visited the 82nd Air Assault Brigade with his top army commander, General Alexander Syrskyi. He thanked the military for defending Ukraine's territorial integrity and said the incursion helped Kyiv to secure the latest military support packages from the West.
I want to personally thank you for the Kursk operation. All of you, commanders, officers, all soldiers, your brothers in arms. I want you to know that we need to motivate the whole world and convince them that Ukrainians can be stronger than the enemy, and it is true. I want you to know that Kirk's operation helped to motivate those who are giving us aid packages, arms from abroad. There was a new wave and it was crucial.
Ukrainian officials evacuated the residents in the town of Pokrovsk on Friday as Russia knocked out around 80% of critical infrastructure in the key logistical hub. Some 13,050 residents remain in the town following an evacuation plan that has been going on for some weeks. Just a month and a half ago, the town hosted more than 48,000 people. Pokrovsk military administration head Serhiy Dobryak said Russia continued to pummel the town, launching a total of 9 glide bombs and injuring 4 people, damaging the infrastructure. Russian forces have focused on Pokrovsk in recent weeks. The ex-soldiers of Russia are heading back to the battlefield as Russia is now offering one-off bonuses of up to 1.9 billion rubles, which is 22 times the average monthly wage, to men prepared to sign volunteer contracts as professional soldiers with Russia. President Vladimir Putin last month ordered the regular size of the army to be increased by 180,000 troops to 1.5 million active servicemen, in a move that would make Russian army the second largest after China. Security official Dmitry Medvedev also mentioned that nearly 200,000 people had signed army contracts since the start of the year. An employee at the Russian-controlled Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant in southern Ukraine was killed in a car bomb attack on Friday. Russia's investigative committee said the employee, called Andrei Korotkiy, had died after a bomb planted under his car went off near his house. Korotkiy worked in the plant's security department. A criminal case has been opened into his death, while Ukrainian military intelligence in a statement called Korotkiy a war criminal and collaborator, accusing him of repressing the Ukrainians. The plant's authorities condemned Ukrainian authorities for orchestrating the murder. Now, Swedish troops are preparing to go to Latvia as part of the nation's first overseas NATO deployment since joining the NATO alliance. Sweden's foreign and defence ministers hosted Latvian Defence Minister Andris Spruds on a visit to a military base in southern Sweden, attending a demonstration by the unit that will contribute 600 soldiers to the NATO force in Latvia. The soldiers will travel to Latvia in early 2025 to join NATO's forward land forces as part of a brigade to be led by Canada. A gang attack in the western Haiti town of Pont-Sonde has killed at least 70 people and over 6,000 forced to flee. The Office of the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights said that the gang members set fires to dozens of houses and vehicles as people ran for safety. Grand Grif gang leader Laksin Ilan took the responsibility for the massacre, saying it was in retaliation for the civilians remaining passive while police and vigilante groups killed his soldiers. Haiti's Prime Minister Gary Conil offered his condolences to those affected by the attack and said law enforcement would be stepping up its response to this. UN spokesperson Stephanie Dujarric said in a statement that the agency was horrified by the attack and further called for a prompt and thorough investigation into the attack for those responsible to be held accountable. He said that UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres also condemned the attack.
Turning to Haiti, given the violence that we have seen, the Secretary General strongly condemns the attack by armed gangs in the town of Pont-Sonde in the Artibonite department that took place yesterday. The attack left several dozen people dead, including women and children, injured many more, and resulted in the displacement of at least 3,000 people. As gang violence continues to spread from the capital to other departments of Haiti, the Secretary General stresses the importance of the joint efforts undertaken by the Haitian National Police and the Multinational Security Support Mission. Those efforts need to be supported.
Pakistan's capital Islamabad and neighbouring Rawalpindi were locked down on Friday with major roads blocked, mobile services suspended as jailed former Prime Minister Imran Khan called on his supporters to hit the streets. The police fired tear gas as they clashed with the supporters of Imran Khan, who were holding an anti-government rally in defiance of a ban on congregating across the city. Authorities sealed off Islamabad and blocked cell phone services to prevent the gathering, with the city on high alert in the lead-up to a series of high-level diplomatic events, including a visit from the Indian Foreign Minister for the SCO summit. Well, it was the latest in a series of protest rallies since last month to press for Khan's release and agitate against the ruling coalition that the PTI calls illegitimate, saying it was formed after a fraudulent election. Time to take a short break, but still to come on DD India News Hour. US presidential candidate Kamala Harris accuses rival Donald Trump for not caring for jobs at all in a recent campaign. Wildfire rages across Boise foothills. Tropical Depression 11E forces coastal residents along the Pacific coast to move towards safer areas as weather wreaks havoc across the field. World leaders arrived at the Élysée Palace for the 19th Francophonie Summit dinner in France.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the economic brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Welcome back after that short break. You're watching DD India News Hour with me, Deepika. Now let's talk about Haryana polls, where polling is underway for the 90 assembly seats in the northern Indian state of Haryana. Elaborate arrangements have been made for the smooth conduct of the polls. The voting, which began at 7 a.m. according to Indian Standard Time, will continue till 6 p.m. local time to decide the fate of 1,031 candidates. 9.53% voter turnout has been recorded till 9 a.m. local time. Over 2.03 crore voters in the state will be able to exercise their franchise in the 15th Haryana Legislative Assembly elections. The counting of the votes will be held on the 8th of October, with the election results being declared on the same day. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi urged the voters of Haryana to cast their ballots in record numbers for the polls to the 90-member state assembly. Taking to X, Prime Minister said, and I quote him, "I appeal to all the voters to be a part of this sacred festival of democracy and create a new voting record. My best wishes to young voters who are exercising their franchise for the first time," unquote. And now to talk more about this, Akansha Saxena joins us from Chandigarh. A very good morning to you, Akansha. What is the latest voting percentage as per the latest update on Haryana polls, Akansha?
Yeah, good morning. As you know that Haryana is, the voting has started at 7 a.m. in the morning for the 15th Legislative Assembly seats. There are 90 constituencies for the voting which is happening today. And as per the latest we have got, it is 13%. Till now, 13% of voting has been done in Haryana.
And also, what sort of special arrangements and security arrangements have been put in place for the ongoing polling across Haryana, Akansha?
Yeah, see, 100% webcasting is there to monitor the polling stations at 3 levels, which has been ascertained by the Election Commission, and also 225 companies of Central Armed Police Forces are also there at place. So there are, which includes the companies from CRPF and 25 from BSF, 45 from CISF, 35 from ITBP, and as what we can see around, there are a lot many nakas which have been put, the checkpoints have been put, the borders have been sealed. So as far as the security is concerned, all arrangements are there.
All right. Thank you so much, Akansha, for joining us and bringing us the latest on the ongoing Haryana polls. 13% of polling has been recorded till now. The next update will come around 11:30 a.m. local time. Moving on, as the US presidential polls come near, candidates are making new commitments and new accusations against their rivals, making the campaign targeted and pinpointed to woo the respective electorate. In her Michigan rally on Friday, Democratic presidential candidate Kamala Harris praised the role of the worker unions and tried to fool the middle class, vowing to work for them. She also accused her rival Donald Trump for not caring for jobs at all.
And America lost nearly 200,000 manufacturing jobs when he was president, including tens of thousands of jobs in Michigan. And those losses started before the pandemic, so we're clear. Making Donald Trump one of the biggest losers of manufacturing jobs in American history.
The former president and Republican candidate Donald Trump was also on his campaign trip in Georgia on Friday, and he centered his speech on accusing the Democratic Biden administration of misappropriation of the funds.
It's been a terrible response from the White House. They're missing $1 billion that was used for another purpose, and nobody's seen anything like that. No, from that standpoint, it's been terrible.
Now, amidst the heated debates during the campaigns, US President Joe Biden has expressed apprehension whether elections would be peaceful or not. Biden made these remarks during his rare appearance at the White House press briefing on Friday. That was mainly to greet the deal between the longshoremen's union and shippers that ended a 3-day strike. But he also chose the occasion to speak about his fear about the elections. He said he was not sure about peaceful elections, citing what Republicans had done after the results of 2020 elections when Trump faced the defeat by Joe Biden.
I'm confident it'll be free and fair. I don't know whether it'll be peaceful. The things that Trump has said and the things that he said last time out, when he didn't like the outcome of the election, were very dangerous. If you notice, I noticed that the vice presidential Republican candidate did not say he'd accept the outcome of the election. They haven't even accepted the outcome of the last election. So I'm concerned about what they're going to do.
The former US president, who was campaigning in Georgia, said he's just focused on the campaigns, hoping that the elections will be free and fair.
I don't know anything about what he said. I only can hope that it's going to be free and fair, and I think in this state it will be, and I hope in every state it will be, and I think we're going to do very well, but right now we're focused on this. We're not focused on the election.
Now, 1 week after Helene slammed into Florida, the US government is working around the clock with dozens of partners to get help to people as quickly as possible. An army of private volunteers, including helicopter pilots, are helping deliver supplies and rescue stranded victims. Across the southeast, hundreds of people are still reportedly missing. Helene's destruction covers a huge area, and it's taking time to navigate the damaged roads and reach the communities which are cut off. US President Joe Biden stated on Friday that the country must address the damages caused by Hurricane Helene across several states. He said that if it's going to cost a lot of money and probably have to ask the Congress for more money for Helene's recovery.
The fact is, we've gone from economy in crisis to literally having the strongest economy in the world. And but we've got more work to do. We've got more work to do to deal with the things I've just mentioned, and we're going to have to deal with unforeseen cost of what this hurricane is going to cost. It's going to cost a lot of money, and I'm going to probably have to ask the Congress before we leave for more money to deal with some of those problems.
Meanwhile, former President Donald Trump also criticized the White House's response to Hurricane Helene as terrible. Previously, Trump has claimed that aid intended for flood-ravaged North Carolina was being spent on people that should not be in our country.
Our hearts break for the more than 200 American families who have lost their lives already. Officially 200, and that number, unfortunately, is going to be going up. It's one of the deadliest storms in American history.
Now, residents in North Carolina's Asheville are coping up with a prolonged water outage, potentially spanning weeks due to extensive damage from Hurricane Helene. The city has set up water distribution sites where people can pick up bottled water or refill their containers. Locals have adapted to the situation, preparing for a recovery. Construction crews were seen rebuilding the road that washed away on the North Fork Swannoa River in Black Mountain, where the North Fork water treatment plant sits on the North Fork Reservoir. In Mexico, the tropical depression 11E forced coastal residents along the Pacific coast to seek shelter on Friday as heavy downpours flooded the streets. The residents in Oaxaca state waited for the flood waters to recede to resume their normal activities. The Mexican Weather Agency forecasted 11E to bring torrential rains between 150 to 250 millimeters on Friday. The Mexican Pacific coast has experienced 10 tropical cyclones this season, including 2 major hurricanes. A wildfire is rapidly spreading across the Boise foothills in Idaho. The fire that began early Friday has already consumed over 2,000 acres and is moving towards residential areas. The Boise Fire Department has issued pre-evacuation warnings while firefighters are battling to contain the blaze under hazardous conditions. Moving on, Nepal is still reeling from its worst flooding in decades after the number of people who lost their lives in the recent late monsoon-induced disaster has reached to 239. So far 239 people have been confirmed dead, while 18 are missing in the floods and landslides that occurred in the country last week. A total number of 178 people were injured in the disaster-induced incident. In the post-disaster response initiative, more than 17,000 people have been rescued from the flood and landslides affected areas so far. Efforts are also underway to mobilize relief support for the survivors and repair the highways and roads that have suffered huge damages. In India, the flood situation in the eastern state of Bihar has slightly improved as the major rivers have adopted receding trend. Chief Minister Nitish Kumar made an aerial survey of the flood-hit areas in Darbhanga district. He also visited flood relief camps there. An ex gratia relief of 7,000 rupees each has also been announced to 4.39 lakh families of Bihar. Boat ambulances have been deployed in flood-hit areas to provide medical relief to flood victims and also to check an upsurge of any epidemic in the areas from flood water. And now it's time to take a look at other stories making news around the world. World leaders arrived at the Elysee Palace for the 19th Francophonie Summit dinner in France. Head of state, ministers and dignitaries walked the red carpet for the high-profile event. The summit highlights cooperation among French-speaking nations. The Tara Polar Station, a floating lab designed for Arctic expeditions, launched in Cherbourg, France. The vessel will drift in the Arctic from 2026 to 2045, aiding scientific research in extreme conditions. The station is built to withstand long periods trapped in ice. Legendary U.S. singer Otis Redding received posthumous star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Redding, who died in a plane crash in 1967 at just 26, was recognized for his contributions to the world of music. The star honors his enduring legacy in Los Angeles. An oil spill in Peru's northern Amazon region has contaminated the Pastaza River. The spill, reported by state-owned Petroperu, affected 3 small indigenous communities, threatening the local ecosystem. We are heading for a short break on DD India News Hour, but still to come on the other side. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to inaugurate and lay the foundation stone of Mumbai's first underground metro. Argentina's foreign minister to co-chair the 7th India-Argentina Joint Commission meeting in New Delhi. And 2 terrorists eliminated by security forces in ongoing operation in Kupwara.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. Let's quickly recap the top headlines of the hour. Israel conducts fresh strikes on Beirut's southern suburbs and alerts the residents to evacuate immediately. Biden asks Netanyahu to consider alternatives to striking Iran's oil fields. Polling underway for 90-member state legislative assembly in the North Indian state of Haryana. Prime Minister Modi urges for record voting. Biden raises apprehension on whether elections would be peaceful in the USA. Trump says it must be free and fair. And Pakistan is on the boil as police shell tear gas on former Prime Minister Imran Khan's supporters, demanding his release. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi will visit Pohra Devi Shrine in Washim district of the Western Indian state of Maharashtra on Saturday. TD India correspondent Yogesh Sheetal tells us more.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will travel to Washim and perform darshan at Jagdamba Mata Temple in Pohra Devi. The PM will also pay tribute to samadhis of Sant Sevalal Maharaj and Sant Ramrao Maharaj in Washim. Prime Minister will also inaugurate the Banjara Virasat Museum, celebrating the rich heritage of the Banjara community in Maharashtra.
Pohra Devi Shrine is of great religious significance for Banjara community, and it is believed that this is the Kashi of Banjaras. Narendra Modi has always been close to this community even before he took charge as the Prime Minister of India.
Pohra Devi, located at Manora Tehsil of Washim, is considered to be the most sacred shrine of the Banjara community. Prime Minister will also hold a mega rally. In line with his commitment to empower farmers, the PM will disperse 18th installment of the PM Kisan Samman Nidhi, worth about 20,000 crore rupees to around 9.4 crore farmers. Prime Minister will also dedicate to the nation more than 7,500 projects under the Agriculture Infrastructure Fund. Further, Prime Minister will dedicate 5 solar parks with a total capacity of 19 megawatts across Maharashtra under the Mukhyamantri Saur Krishi Vahini Yojana 2.0. Banjara community's glorious history of fight against oppression has been well documented, and Prime Minister Modi has highlighted it on various occasions.
Narendra Modi had started his political campaign for 2014 general election from Washim Yavatmal constituency. Now this time he will address a gathering as a 3-time Prime Minister. Now coming to Banjara community, out of 288 assembly constituencies, 35 are quite sensitive when it comes to the voters from Banjara community, and that's the reason this rally will play a quite important role ahead of Maharashtra assembly election. With my colleague Ram Dhankar, I am Yogesh Sheetal from Maharashtra for DD India.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will also inaugurate and lay the foundation stone of key metro and road projects on his visit to Maharashtra. He will also inaugurate the BKC to RA JVLR section of Mumbai Metro Line, Phase 3, which is worth around 14,120 crore rupees. DD India speaks to Ashwini Phide, who is the MD of Mumbai Metro Rail Corporation, for more.
Colaba-Bandra Seeps Corridor Line 3 is the first and the only fully underground metro line being implemented for Mumbai metropolitan region. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will inaugurate the BKC to RA JVLR section of this line. Metro Line 3 is a key project to improve and facilitate transportation in the city, and once fully operational, Line 3 will cater to around 13 lakh passengers daily, with train frequency of about 3 to 4 minutes, ferrying approximately 2,500 passengers in each train.
Phase 1, about 4.84 lakh passengers will be travelling on Phase 1. We will run about 9 trains of 8 coaches with 96 trips, and they will carry these many passengers. So this is a very, very important connectivity which Mumbai is getting, and it has the capacity to transform the way Mumbai travels.
Cuff Parade Station in Colaba and RA JVLR Station near Seeps are the stations at either ends of the corridor. The total length is 33.5 kilometers, which is fully underground corridor having 26 underground plus 1 at grade stations.
This is a 33.5 kilometer long, 37,276 crore worth metro project, which is first underground project, metro project in Mumbai, and the longest fully underground metro project of India.
The line will add connectivity to 6 major business and employment centers including Nariman Point, Cuff Parade, Fort, Lower Parel, BKC and Seeps, Mid-Sea. It will integrate with other existing and under construction metros, monorail, suburban rail and state transport bus services. 15% of the line traffic is expected out of the traffic on suburban railways.
Metro Line 3 will be a crucial addition to the growing metro web in Mumbai. And once integrated with other metro lines and the other transportation hub, it will further enhance the overall public transit network. With camera person Gaurav Kagra, this is Shama Mishra for DD India, Mumbai.
And now Shama Mishra joins us live from Mumbai to take us through the entire event which is planned for Prime Minister Modi. Good morning, Shama. Tell us about the various events which are lined for Prime Minister Narendra Modi, where he will be participating today. Shama.
Good morning, Deepika. Now we understand that whenever Prime Minister is in Mumbai or Maharashtra, his all activities are it's a day of action-packed events. So this time around also Maharashtra will witness similar activities. First, Prime Minister would be traveling to Washim district, and in a short while he'll be going to that Banjara community area where, you know, in your story package also you all have mentioned, where he'll be visiting and inaugurating the Banjara Museum. He'll also be going to Jagdamba Mata Temple, which is, amidst Navratri celebrations. So Navratri is going to be special for Maharashtra. Apart from that, he'll be also going to Samadhi Sthal, which is also a key place for the Banjara community. Now, the Banjara community is really excited here in Maharashtra, and especially at Washim district, because it's not every day when a Prime Minister comes to visit them, and we understand that this particular museum holds a huge significance for the entire Banjara community. The foundation stone was laid in 2018, and now it's ready for inauguration. So it will definitely give a sneak peek of what all importance or work Banjara community has been doing through over the years, through over the decades, and this will be a good information place for everybody in the country and outside as well. Apart from that, he'll be also interacting with the Banjara community at a public rally. He'll be distributing the Kisan Samman Nidhi installment, the 18th installment. After that, he'll be coming to Thane, which is closer to Mumbai, and there also he'll be inaugurating, laying the foundation stone of various key projects. And amidst that, the package that I've sent is of BKC Metro Rail, which is totally underground, and it's the first underground metro rail project of Maharashtra or Mumbai. Now, this is going to be a game changer of how people travel, of how commuters travel daily. We are understanding that this particular area of BKC, where this station is and where the Prime Minister would be coming, Prime Minister after Thane, so let's talk about Thane first. So he'll be inaugurating that BKC to JVLR RA over there, the Metro Line 3, which is the Aqua Line. And apart from that, he'll be also laying the foundation stone of phase 1 of Naina, which is Navi Mumbai Airport area. Apart from that, he'll be also laying the foundation stone of the Thane Integral Metro Rail project, which is also going to be a relief for the people of Thane who commute inside the Thane area, Thane district. So that's going to be a game changer. There are several other projects which he will be laying the keystone, he will be laying the foundation stone for. We are coming to Mumbai now, where Prime Minister, he has already inaugurated this Aqua Line of BKC to JVLR. When he comes to Mumbai, he'll be taking a ride in this metro train, which is completely ready and completely underground. So he'll be traveling in this particular metro, and we understand there'll be students, there'll be beneficiaries of a Ladki Behan, and Prime Minister, as he's known for interacting with the passengers, with the commuters on metro rail. he'll be doing that, and then he'll be coming back to the same station, BKC. And at BKC, before he takes the ride, there'll be several interaction with the people of Metro Rail.
All right.
There'll be a souvenir launch, and there'll also be a museum sort of, pictures and everything.
All
where
right,
he'll be
so with a
visiting.
360-degree
So this is the
approach,
kind of-
the event is really extensive ahead of Prime Minister's visit to Maharashtra. We can learn from the facts that you just told that Prime Minister Narendra Modi is not just focusing on the community, but infrastructure, farmers, and a lot more. Thank you so much, Rama, for joining us and bringing us those important pointers ahead of Prime Minister's visit to Maharashtra. Moving on to Argentina now. Foreign Minister of Argentina, Diana Montino, she arrived in India on Saturday on an official visit. During her stay, she will co-chair the 7th India-Argentina Joint Commission meeting with External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar. The visiting dignitary will meet several Indian ministers and attend a business event. The visit is taking place in the year when India is celebrating 75 years of diplomatic ties. So it will not only provide an opportunity to review the entire gamut of bilateral relations, but also to discuss ways to further deepen and widen the India-Argentina strategic partnership. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. Jaishankar was on a day-long visit to Sri Lanka on Friday. And during his visit, Dr. Jaishankar called on the President Anura Kumara Dissanayake and met with Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya. In his meeting with the President, the External Affairs Minister discussed ways to deepen the ongoing cooperation and strengthen India-Sri Lanka ties for the benefit of the people of the two countries along with the region. The minister also held discussions with Foreign Minister Vijita Herath and met former President Ranil Wickremesinghe and leader of SJB, Sajith Premadasa. India's Minister of State for External Affairs, Pabitra Margareta, attended the ceremonial state opening of the third session of the 11th Parliament of Grenada. In a social media post, the minister said that he had an insightful interaction with the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Leo Cato, and the President of the Senate, Dr. Decima Williams. Maldives President Mohamed Muizzu will travel to India on an official state visit from the 7th till the 10th of October. Now, this is the first bilateral visit of President Muizzu to India. During the visit, Dr. Muizzu is scheduled to hold meetings with President Draupadi Murmu, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and other senior officials to enhance bilateral ties between the two countries. He will also visit Mumbai and Bengaluru for business engagements. Earlier this year, he had attended the swearing-in ceremony of the Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers.
The President of the Republic of Maldives, His Excellency Dr. Mohamed Muizzu, will be travelling to India on a state visit during 7th to 10th of October 2024. This will be the first bilateral visit of President Dr. Muizzu to India. As you know, he had earlier visited India in June 2024 to attend the swearing-in ceremony of the Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers. During the visit, he'll also be visiting Mumbai and Bengaluru, where he'll have business engagements.
Now, speaking on the condition of minorities in Bangladesh, India's Ministry of External Affairs spokesperson Randhir Jaiswal said that India expects Bangladesh government to provide security to the minorities in that country.
जो वहाँ पर अल्पसंख्यक के लोग हैं, जो माइनॉरिटी वर्ग के लोग हैं, उनकी सुरक्षा होनी चाहिए और हम चाहते हैं, ये हमारा एक्सपेक्टेशन है कि वहाँ की सरकार हमारे जो माइनॉरिटीज़ वर्ग के लोग हैं, जो अल्पसंख्यक हैं, उसको सुरक्षा प्रदान करेंगे और जो भी उनकी ज़रूरतें हैं उनको पूरा करेंगे.
Now, India has renewed its urgent call for adopting an international treaty against terrorism at the United Nations General Assembly's Legal Committee, once it first proposed nearly 30 years ago. At the United Nations General Assembly's Legal Committee, legal officer with India's UN mission R. Maithili expressed deep concern over the growing strength of terrorist groups which are harnessing cutting-edge technologies to enhance their capabilities. She emphasized the need for countries to overcome the current stalemate in finalizing the Comprehensive Convention on International Terrorism. Maithili also condemned the countries that justify terrorism for political reasons. India's appeal for international unity comes in the wake of renewed global commitments to counter terrorism following the adoption of the Pact of the Future at last month's UN summit. In the ongoing operation in Jammu and Kashmir's Kupwara district, 2 terrorists have been eliminated by the security forces. The Indian Army said that the troops spotted suspicious activity in Gugalthar and challenged the terrorists, leading to an exchange of fire on Friday. The operation is underway and is being led by a joint team of the Indian Army and Jammu Kashmir Police. Now let's take a look at other stories making news around the country. In Chhattisgarh, 31 Naxals have been killed in the encounter with police along the Narayanpur-Dantewada border. Central Reserve Police Force, DRG, additional reinforcement forces sent in the region. Anti-Naxal operation is still underway in the forests of village Tulutuli of Barsur, PS of Dantewada district, and village Nendur of Orcha, PS of Narayanpur district. Saptashakti Command of the Indian Army has achieved yet another milestone by completing the maiden flights in the high-altitude area, pushing all the boundaries of technology and innovatively employing the equipments. The achievement is a testament to the team's hard work, professional commitment and pioneering vision. On the third day of Navratri, devotees gathered in temples of Guwahati to attend the special Aarti dedicated to Goddess Durga. This Aarti holds great spiritual significance as it is believed to invoke Goddess's blessings for peace, courage and protection. The atmosphere during the Aarti is filled with devotion, with the sounds of conch shells, bells and devotional hymns echoing through the space. Time to take a short break, but still to come on DD India News Hour. India becomes 4th economy in the world to cross $700 billion of forex. Tournament favourites Australia to open their T20 World Cup campaign against Sri Lanka today. And Court of Arbitration for Sports cut short French soccer player Paul Pogba's doping suspension to 18 months now.
This is a golden era of the Indian chess with both the men's and women's team winning gold at the Olympiad. What do you think is driving this incredible success for Indian chess on the global stage right now?
Some level it was always bound to happen, and India has come very close in some Olympiads, and then they unfortunately couldn't get the gold medal, but this year I think was the golden year and we managed to get it.
How you maintain your focus, your composure during the tournament?
Just try to focus on one thing at a time. Helps me get into the groove, get into the mode. Focusing on the current moment really helps.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour, and now let's talk about India's economy. Well, India has become the 4th economy in the world to cross $700 billion of foreign exchange reserves, along with China, Japan and Switzerland. India's forex reserves rose by $12.588 billion to a new all-time high of $704.885 billion in the end of the month of September. The sharp increase in forex reserves has strengthened India's ability to deal with global economic uncertainties and provided a greater stability to its currency in the face of volatile international markets. As per the latest data of Reserve Bank of India, India's gold reserves have increased by $2.184 billion to $65.796 billion. Special drawing rights at the International Monetary Fund increased by $8 million to $18.547 billion. India's Union Cabinet has approved the recognition of 5 more languages as classical, which means Marathi, Pali, Prakrit, Assamese and Bengali will join the ranks of 6 others that are already recognized in the classical category.
India is home to a rich linguistic heritage with several ancient languages that have evolved over thousands of years. To honor and protect this cultural legacy, Government of India has granted classical language status to Marathi, Pali, Prakrit, Assamese and Bengali. These languages are now part of the nation's protected linguistic treasures.
Once a language is declared as a classical language, there is a lot of international interest in it. There are many international universities which start courses and research programs in those classical languages. And we have seen in the recent times, several international awards have been instituted to recognize and encourage the achievements in the field of classical languages.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi applauded the Cabinet's decision, emphasizing that recognizing these 5 languages as classical will inspire more people to learn and explore their rich histories.
So if these languages are declared as the classical languages, the universities would establish chairs. There would be center of excellences to study these languages. There would be publications and there would be documentation on these languages.
पूर्व का जो दौर रहा है उसमें पाली और प्राकृत ने अपनी ध्वजा को संस्कृत के साथ विस्तार दिया है। पुनः ऐसा होने पर जो हमारी प्राच्य विद्याविद हैं उनके निर्माण की एक नई श्रृंखला पैदा होगी।
इन सारों की एक साथ बात करें तो निसंदेह जो हमारा ज्ञान निधि है उसको पूरा करने के लिए इन भाषाओं का मेन स्ट्रीम में आना निहायत जरूरी था।
Looking back, in 2004, Government of India introduced a new category for languages known as classical languages. The criteria were revised in 2005 and again in 2024. The key criteria for classical language status includes documented antiquity of text or history spanning over 1500 to 2000 years, a body of ancient texts considered a heritage by generations of speakers, the presence of significant prose, poetry, inscriptions, and epigraphical evidence. The classical language may be distinct from or discontinuous with its modern form or derivatives. The Ministry of Education has taken significant steps to promote classical languages, including establishing 3 central universities dedicated to language promotion. Before the cabinet decision, India recognized 6 classical languages: Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam, Kannada, Sanskrit, and Oriya. Tamil was the first to receive the status in 2004, followed by Sanskrit in 2005. By extending classical status to 5 more languages, government aims to boost employment opportunities in academic and research sectors. The recognition is expected to foster a sense of pride and ownership among speakers of these languages, strengthening national unity and promoting India's vision of cultural self-reliance. Tripti Tripaঠি's report for DD India.
You're watching DD India News Hour, and now it's time to get you all the latest from the world of sports. To begin with cricket first. Indian women's team started their T20 Cricket World Cup campaign with a defeat against New Zealand in Dubai on Friday. Bowled out for 102, chasing 161 for victory, none of Indian batters passed captain Harmanpreet Kaur's 15 runs and only 5 made it to the double figure, including Jamie Rodrigues with 13. For New Zealand, seamers Rosemary Mayer took 4 for 19, while Lee Tahuhu took 3 for 15. Earlier, New Zealand captain Devon won the toss and opted to bat. Led by Sophie Devine's 57 not out 36, New Zealand posted 160 for 4. Renuka Thakur Singh came up with figures of 2 for 27 for India. India hold an underwhelming record against New Zealand in women's T20Is, winning only 4 of their 13 meetings. New Zealand have won 5 of their last 5 clashes, including their last meeting in 2022. Tournament favourites Australia will open their T20 Cricket World Cup encounter against Asian champions Sri Lanka at Sharjah today. After warming up with victories against Bangladesh and Scotland, Asia Cup champions Sri Lanka lost their tournament opener to Pakistan in Sharjah. Australia, not surprisingly, beat England and West Indies in the warm-ups after batting first in both the games. Australia have never lost to Sri Lanka in T20 internationals, the last of which came in 2023 T20 World Cup. In soccer, the Court of Arbitration for Sport on Friday cut short French soccer player Paul Pogba's doping suspension to 18 months from an initial 4-year ban. The France international was provisionally suspended by Italy's National Anti-Doping Organization in September 2023 after testing positive for DHEA, which is a banned substance that raises levels of testosterone. The 31-year-old Paul Pogba, who has a contract with Italy's Juventus until June 2026, denied any wrongdoings and said in February that he would appeal to the CAS. And before we let you go, we take you to the city of Kanpur in the northern Indian state of Uttar Pradesh, where devotees gathered at the temple of goddess Kali, located in the city, for celebrating the third day of Navratri. The devotees came to offer prayers and seek their blessings. Devotees also worshipped goddess Chandraghanta, the third form of goddess Durga, on the third day of the Navratri festival. And that's all for this edition of DD India News Hour. But do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on your screens to download it right now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I am Deepika, and from all of us here in New Delhi, thank you so much for watching News Hour. Namaskar.